Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be discussing about the other law entrance exams. Now, when we're talking about other law entrance exams, then probably our first few papers that come to my mind are MHCET and papers like SLAT. Undoubtedly, these papers have very varying kind of a pattern. So there is nothing as like CLAT pattern that you will only be having RCs and reading. Questions in the English section will only be pertaining to reading comprehension. So it's going to be a mixed bag of questions when it comes to our papers like MHCET particularly and papers like SLAT. Now, first and foremost, let's understand how these papers what are the basic pattern for these papers and how they would vary. Now, as far as your paper MHCET is concerned, so a number of questions remain the same like your earlier paper of CLAT. This is about 150 questions. Time is again 150 questions with 2 hours is the time. Sections are also same only. Almost sections, number of questions vary here. As far as the English section is concerned, you have 50 questions. So now you can easily understand when there are going to be 50 questions, then practically not all of them are going to be RCs because time again remains almost half an hour. So in your CLAT paper, you had just 24 questions and there were almost 30 minutes for you. So with 50 questions, first of all, let's look at what are the different questions that are going to be seen in the paper MHCET. Now, as far as pattern is concerned, now English will have RCs for sure. The reading comprehension section will always be there. Without that, the paper will not be complete. So reading comprehension, but how many reading comprehensions? They're going to be practically 2. We can maximum see it's nothing because that's why I said it varies each year. So there are going to be 2 comprehensions. Very rarely there can be 3. So first I describe the pattern to you and then we can talk about how do we start with preparation for vocabulary, and then we talk about how do we prepare for even for your grammar portion. So these 2-3 passages. So there can be now what usually the question that comes in our mind is, are the passages going to be, they're going to be of an average length of 500 to 600 words. So that means in case if you have 2 paragraphs, they are 600 words, but the number of questions will practically be between the range of 5 to 10 questions. So they can be in this range. So practically we can think of that there might be 7 questions each passage or maybe 6 questions. So about 15 questions might go for the comprehension section, or it might have 3 paragraphs with almost 6 questions and you have 17 to 18 questions. So practically in the range of 15 to 20 questions will go for 2 passages, maybe 3. But for this, obviously now here, all those who have already written their A-Lit paper as well as they have gone about writing they've also written their paper CLAT. So you guys practically are prepared to some extent on the reading comprehension section. So when we're talking about preparation, reading comprehension, my advice to all of you would be, because you have given these 2 papers and now usually people have this notion that I have written the CLAT RCs and I am very, very much prepared. So wonderful. Yes, I would agree with you that you are prepared for the reading comprehension section. All those who have been our students, we have really guided you through different mock papers and have given you and almost I should be saying an infinite practice on RCs through our mocks we have done. So, but still, because we're going to write an exam, so we should not lose out on our speed because this paper will require speed. So when it comes to reading comprehension, I think all of us can start practicing 3 reading comprehensions every day. Because if 2 will be seen, then we are going to be absolutely, sometimes you can take 2 and some days you can take. So if we are doing a practice for, let's say, all the 7 days in a week or 6 days in a week, then 3 days we can allocate for practicing 2 RCs with about 15 questions. But another 3 days we can take 3 RCs with almost like 17 to 18 questions. So this could be like Monday, Wednesday, Friday we can start. Now, what are the type of questions? that will be seen. So here, the type of questions that one can see in these passages usually are questions that will be related to author base. So please strengthen. And first of all, when we are talking about, number of questions, we also need to look at that we do not lose out on the time management also. So the time management would say that if you're taking 2 passages every day or 3 days, and it is followed by about 15 questions, then my advice would be that spend about 12 to 15 minutes maximum should be allocated to RCs, not more than that. 12 minutes will be sufficient, but if the number of questions go up, that means each passage is followed by 10 questions, then you have 20 questions to answer, then you can start taking 15 minutes. Then it is, because number of questions, it is entirely dependent on the number of questions. So please keep monitoring how much time it takes for you to solve, passages, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 18 to 20 questions. So now, obviously, these questions are not going to be, very much, very tough questions, because they are going to be author-based questions. There'll be a lot of questions which will be specific detail. So in your skimming approach, scanning and skimming approach, skim would really work. So please apply your skimming approach, where we were reading a paragraph, we were skimming through the information, we were underlining specific details that are given in the paragraph pertaining to the question, and that would really help us, find out the answer. So specific detail questions would be huge. Author-based questions like the purpose question or the title question or main idea questions will also be seen. So exactly, we can follow the same approach what we've learned in our classes, that how to work out with author-based question. Go with the generalized approach of understanding, scan the questions, and then probably go and read by finding on introductions and conclusions. So maybe title questions are also seen. With RCs, more questions will be specific detail and author-based, but that doesn't mean info questions will not be there, but these are not going to be very many in the number. So probably we can expect that there might be 3 to 4 questions, max 5 questions for inference out of the 18 to 20 questions, but some will be specific detail, author true and false question. So my suggestion to all of you would be that when you're preparing with the reading comprehension section, please keep yourself absolutely clear on time management, and do not say that I wrote those 2 papers, so I am practically absolutely ready with my comprehension section. So in that case, keep reading articles from the newspaper, because as such GK is going to be a part. So when you're reading newspaper every day, try, because knowing and being acquainted with current affairs, you might have paragraphs coming from newspapers and topics of the current topics. So knowing a topic will help you understand it better. Secondly, there will also be vocabulary based questions in your reading comprehension. So concentrating on reading a quality material will also help us a lot, because that will give us an, once we read text that has difficult words lying in the text. So we are trying, and whenever you're reading a newspaper, so what we can do to improve our vocabulary first and foremost from the reading comprehension, then I'll talk in separate about how to improve your vocabulary also. You can go and, when you're reading articles from the newspaper and you encounter words that you are not very clear with, or you're not, make out the dictionary, make out the meaning that you have understood in your one reading, not going back and reading again, because that kind of time will not be available for us. So read the passage, gauge the meaning, and then open the dictionary to find whether you were clear, you were close to the meaning that the author wrote. Now, if you have understood the word, so practically that tells you that you can make out the meaning of the word. Suppose now, how would we encounter, let's say I'm reading an editorial section from the Hindu and I encounter these 3-4 words that I do not know. So what will I do? I will practically, first and foremost, I will find out the meaning as per the context, and I'm going to write the meaning of those difficult words that I understood and wrote. Now I'll open the dictionary and Then I'll check the meaning, whether what I understood from the passage is that kind of meaning, also the meaning of the word. Then if the meaning matches, that means I am really understanding as the author wants me. And the second thing that is there is that it also helps me, gives me a confidence. And once you understand the meaning and then open a dictionary, that word is going to be, it's going to be plugged into your memory. And then that point you can learn the word. So this can be another way of, because as such, all of us are going to read articles from the newspaper for GK purpose. So when we're reading the articles from the newspaper, whatever difficult words that we encounter, then we write down the meanings. First of all, we underline that word and write the meaning of that word. Now, after you have done the entire reading process, open a dictionary and check what meanings you wrote. Is it close in meaning to what you interpreted and what the dictionary says? Now, the day all the words match, that means you are understanding the text better. But your meaning, what you understood and what the meaning is given in the dictionary, are absolutely diagonally opposite to each other. Probably we need to enhance our reading skills. So all of you get this, at this point, please feel absolutely motivated, because see, it's still January and the paper's in May. So when we've got this, we've practically got 3 complete months. So in these 3 complete months, I think we can really improve on any area that we missed in our paper CLAT. So these 4 to 5 months, we are really keeping our goals absolutely crisp and clear. So one suggestion to all of you would be that keep reading. Meanings I've already told you that how to read. This is first thing would be read articles. These reading articles will help us increase our reading speed. It will also help us, understand different passages. It will add on and give a boost to GK. But plus all the difficult words that I spot in my articles will help me understand difficult words in the text, in the context. So working out difficult words in the context, going and then surfing through the dictionary, finding out their meanings, practically will give me a lot of scope on improving vocabulary, which is used by different authors or editorial section writers, or it is also used by a number of columnists. So that makes a great preparation, because usually when you start with your vocabulary, then there is this huge doubt where to start and how to start. So newspaper becomes a good source by going and understanding the context and then finding out more words per word. So this is how, this is from the newspapers. The second step would be that I keep practicing 2 to 3 RCs, keeping in mind my paper MHCET and also my paper SLAT. SLAT might not even have 3, might have 2 only. So preparing RC so that I do not lose out on my speed, whatever speed I had gained while I was preparing for the paper CLAT. And so that speed I keep constantly looking at. Secondly, it also, that means I am practicing with decision making, because when I do questions with reading comprehension, it helps me look at my accuracy on particular types of questions. Further details on passages we can really discuss in the. So what am I going to do for reading comprehension? Newspapers and reading comprehension 3 passages. Questions of, try using your skimming approach for questions of your specific details, so that you can easily check for yourself what is your accuracy, particularly in the specific detail questions and author-based questions. So these are the 2 areas. First and foremost, we can start building. First, we can start building on these 2 areas, and then gradually go into other questions like inference questions or questions of true and false. Go and find for yourself what are your areas of concern in reading comprehension and how one would be able to overcome them by constant practice. Now, you can revisit your black books as well as your pink book. Students who are with us, so you can really or who are planning to be with us, we've got this absolutely good RCs in your pink book as well as in your black book, a good collection of RCs there. Plus RCs are also lying on your LMS site. So you can go and on your portal, there are a number of RCs. So you can start practicing with them. So practically every day monitor your speed. Look at how many 3 RCs took you, how much time, what are still the concern areas, what can be. Now when you find out that there are certain topics that you're not very comfortable with, then in that case you will really go and start reading sidewise those topics. Let's say I'm not very comfortable reading articles of economics, or so that's how I improve on my reading, plus I improve on my skills of understanding by answering specific detailed questions and inference questions. So this is for your RCs to begin with. Almost, if my, as a faculty, I would always say 7 days a week. But in case you are finding paucity of time because your boards are coming, so at least 5 days a week, you should be doing minimalistic 2 RCs, with each RC having almost like 7 questions. So 15 questions should be your ideal practice. So now 15 question preparation is what we have started for the 50 questions that we are going to have in English. Okay.